Hey guys, good morning. It's a rainy Saturday morning, and I thought it'd be a great day to get a head start on my spring preventative maintenance on the Spyder. Unfortunately, the Spyder also shares a space with our laundry, and since it's Saturday, it's laundry day also. So I'll be doing voiceovers for most of this, but we're going to knock out some brake inspection and brake fluid flush. Let's go to work. Now, we happen to have a Am Spyder RT SE6 Limited 2014 edition. So before you start working on your Spyder, make sure that the procedures that we're using is compatible with your particular model. And also check your maintenance guidelines to make sure that what we tell you here is correct. That may be a little bit different depending on your specific model. Okay, some of the tools and equipment that I'm going to use to inspect my brakes and to flush the brake system. I've got a complete set of brake pads here I've had for some time, just in case if I get in there and see that I need to change them out, I've got them. I got some .4 brake fluid. That's what is required in the Spyder. I've got a little rig here I've made up, an old Pepsi bottle, piece of flexible tubing that I can fit over the lack of a better word, the nipple for the drain line, and drain the brake fluid, the old brake fluid, into this Pepsi bottle, and I can dispose of it later. Torque wrench for torquing everything back down. Regular socket wrench. 3 sockets and a regular box wrench. The front brake calipers are held on by 2 bolts, each requiring a 5/8 socket to remove. Now, if it's your first time removing these bolts, you're going to find that they used a thread locking compound at the factory, which requires a little bit more extra effort, but they do come out. After removing the bolts, you'll find the rotor simply slides away, giving you a chance to actually inspect the rotors and the brake pads. If you remove the rotor, make sure you put it on in the same orientation. Although difficult to see in this video, I used a feeler gauge to ensure that the remaining pad was at least 1 millimeter. These had about 3 millimeters, which is basically halfway through its useful life, with plenty of miles left to go. And now for flushing the brake fluid. First, identify the brake fluid drain valve on each of the calipers, remove the dust cover, and connect the wrench and the hose. Now, let's pause it right here and talk about the procedure. You're going to need some assistance with this unless you are incredibly flexible. With everything connected, turn the wrench to open the valve. Have an assistant press and hold the brake pedal all the way down. You'll see the fluid moving through the clear hose, and then close the valve and have your assistant let up on the brake, and then repeat approximately 5 to 7 times. Check your brake fluid level. The last thing you want is for the container to run dry, causing air to get into the line. The brake fluid reservoir has 2 containers. The one in the back is for the front wheels. The one in the front is for the rear wheel. Then reinstall the wheels, and then I torqued them down to 75 foot-pounds. Now, when working on the Spyder's front brakes, I jack up each wheel separately so I can take the tires off and examine the brake system. For the back wheel, there's no need to jack it up to remove the brake system. So we're going to move on to the back wheel. In order to inspect the rear disc brake pads, I actually had to remove the caliper. The brake pads simply are not visible if you don't. The caliper is held in place by 2 bolts. Each one requires a 5/8 inch socket to remove. The lower bolt was really easy. I found I could not get a wrench on the upper bolt, no matter how much I tried, because of the location of the muffler and the parking brake mechanism. The procedure for this is actually quite simple after giving it some thought. First, switch off the electric park brake, which relaxes the tension on the spring. Remove the spring, then remove the retaining bolt with a 1/2 inch socket. Then slide the arm straight out. It removes pretty easily. Once the components were removed, I reactivated the parking brake mechanism so I can turn the switch off without the annoying beep. You can then get a wrench onto the upper caliper bolt. Once the bolts are removed, the caliper simply slides off freely. I can then check the brake pads using a paper clip, which happens to be 1 millimeter in diameter, which is the minimum pad thickness. I was able to determine that I have approximately half of my useful life left on the brake pads. Then reinstall the caliper and the caliper bolts. In retrospect, I wish I had flushed the rear brake line while the caliper was off. It would have been much easier. So now I've released the electric parking brake, and this has a little bit more reach to it with the cable. So just install the arm on the cam, or the arm on the geared cam there, and tighten it on back down. Then I got to connect the spring. I need a pair of needle nose pliers for that one. And now that we've pretty much completed the maintenance procedure, we want to make sure the Spyder still works as it's supposed to, specifically the brakes. So I've got the back wheel chalked, so if I put it in reverse and the brakes don't work, I'm not going to go very far. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Spyder and make sure that the repairs work. Brakes feel good. And they work fine in the garage. Now, hope to take it outside and take it around the cul-de-sac to make sure everything works good and it's out on the road. We're going to save that test for a little bit later on because of the weather we're experiencing right now. But so far, everything looks like it works as advertised. Oh, another tip. In getting ready to do the oil change, we all know about the fear of damaging the mirror clips on the Spyder. I did find that they are easily replaceable. I've ordered an extra set. So every time, well, my plan is to always have a set of extra clips in reserve. So if I ever damage one while doing maintenance on the Spyder during the oil change, I'll be able to put those back on in short order. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and press the little bell button that's somewhere around here so you will get notified when the videos are up and running. As the spidering season comes closer, we'll be doing videos more frequently, but right now there's just doing some preventative maintenance, getting ready for the Spyder season. Y'all take care, and thanks for watching.